Welcome to episode 2 of the Football Frauds Podcast. My name is Miles. Joining me is my good friends Matt and Connor. And our episode today is about positional value in the NFL. We're going to explore why some positions are more valuable than others, what makes them more valuable, what are the variables that go into that, and we're going to try and quantify via a multiplier, which we'll explain later. Why are certain players drafted above other players? Despite having better film, despite being better than their peers, it's usually because of positional value, and we're going to try and quantify that today and better understand exactly what that means and why it happens. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I think one of the first ways people often see this happen, for instance, was a couple years ago when Saquon Barkley was a free agent, and he signed for very little, and so the whole ESPN top of the hour show was Saquon Barkley makes only this much. He's the best player ever, and I love playing him in Madden. And no comment on whether he should have been paid more or whatever, but I think a lot of people don't think about this topic very often.
I would agree with that. I think that it is something that kind of gets overlooked in the kind of normal fan base of the NFL, and it's something that is pretty interesting when you actually get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Connor, quick question for you. If they were to put an NFL team in a different country, where do you think they'd put it?
It'd be Canada.
Okay, let's take away Canada and Mexico.
Mexico. Oh.
If they were, does DR count?
Dominican Republic?
That would be kind of sick if we had a Dominican Republic team.
Yeah, they'd be pumping out. So.
Dude,
I am 12.
Yep. I don't know. I think that in all reality, if it wasn't the obvious picks and it was a wild card, probably like London across the pond.
Yeah, I've heard the idea that instead of just having like one franchise in London, like instead you would just have like a minor league in like basically like minor league football or whatever that
In
would
Europe.
play in the summer in Europe, and there would be like 8 teams in like Frankfurt, Moscow, London,
That's
Paris.
In Russia.
Yeah, fucking Ukraine. High stakes football.
Oh man, that's great.
Okay.
There's drones flying over the stadium at all times.
I don't know if he's going to make it today, Jim. We got a lot of dangerous stuff here around the stadium.
Trump has an official meeting with Xi Jinping. He's like, Red Raiders haven't played too well lately.
What do you think, Xi Jinping? Who's good at quarterback this year for the freaking the Knights, the England Knights,
Beijing
The
Ballers.
England Knights. That's a great take.
Okay, let's dig into it. So, pretty much every year of the draft in the top 10, we're going to see quarterbacks. If it's a good class, they're going to go in the top 5. And then commonly it's going to be edge rusher, receiver, tackle, interior defensive line, corner. What we don't see a lot in the top 10 unless there's exceptional, quote-unquote, generational talents are running backs, tight ends, and off-ball linebackers / safety. Last year, obviously, Lovell got taken at, what was that, 9 or 10?
10.
Warren was 14.
I believe so.
14 to the Colts. Bijan went, I think, 6 to the Falcons
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Genty went 7.
Genty went, 6 to the Raiders.
6 to the Raiders.
Yep, and I would assume that Jeremiah Love this upcoming year will be an exception to that rule. There's no tight ends that are going to qualify for that in this class. In terms of safeties, Caleb Downs will probably qualify for that in this upcoming class. But let's just get right to quarterback. I don't know exactly how we're going to format this episode. I just want to start bouncing it off you guys and find something here.
Well, so when I did my notes, I kind of separated into tiers. I didn't go too much into backups, but at least for starters, non-rookies, people who got their second contract at least, I split it into tiers almost for every single one, and I have like the cream of the crop, what their contracts are looking like, the guys that aren't the cream of the crop but are still very viable, and then people who are kind of on those like prove it deals, like we'll give you a shot, but this obviously isn't the most money that you're going to make. Getting into like cornerback and wide receivers, some of those people who have like those special team abilities as well. I didn't factor that in too much. But that's kind of how I went on it. And then at the end, I kind of had the whole tier system ranked out for every position, and it kind of gave me a better idea of, well, there is a gap between the highest paid and the lowest paid in this position. In other positions, it's like, well, consistently everyone's making at least this much money.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume in this episode we're going to be talking about starters, mainly high-end starters. What this calculus is to me is when you get to free agency and you're trying to form your team, how much is it going to cost to fill out a need? If you have a need at safety, how much is that going to cost for having a need at tackle? And the same thing with extending your guys after you draft them. What's going to be the cost of extending your guy once you get to the end of the 4-year deal, assuming that they're a good player? I don't really care about depth guys at this. I don't care about backups. We're just talking about guys who are going to end up at least being average players and guys you're going to have to give real money to.
On the 11-man route, like starting 11.
Yeah.
I think I just made the assumption that if your backup quarterbacks get paid more than further down wide receivers, further down cornerbacks, so you can look at the starters and hopefully that will be indicative enough of what backup salaries are looking at. And honestly, the general public doesn't care as much about how backups are being paid.
Yeah, and obviously none of this is going to be perfect. We're just trying to get just a general idea so we can refer back to this in the future and have some concrete numbers to think about why players get drafted where they do and why guys get contracts that they do.
I want to caveat, mine is perfect.
Okay. We got one perfect, 2 frauds.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Perfect.
It's a good video. Okay, do we want to just start it off with quarterback, talk about why it's so important, whatever we got there?
Well,
Yeah.
we should probably have Connor just do all of this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Connor,
I'll shut the hell up right now.
I've been waiting for you guys to say it.
Yeah, no, it's just take the
No.
steering wheel here, brother.
No, I mean, at least with quarterbacks, it's pretty obvious that, like, it across the board, it's hard to be a title contender without.
They're winning Super
A quarterback.
Bowls.
Yeah, and
They do be winning them.
rightfully so. It's not like you're going to have 3 all-star quarterbacks on your team. Doesn't help you. There's only one that can be on the field at one time. And so when you factor that positional value into it, your guy gets almost all of that money. And if your guy gets hurt, your team is pretty much saying, if we can't find a floater or have a backup step up, we're not winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. And I think quarterback, it's so important. You're touching the ball so often. Obviously, like, you watch it, you understand. Like, a guy who can fit in an area, who can evade a sack, who can make a late adjustment, who can see the field before this ball is snapped. It's so crazy. And then even beyond that, you're just such a leader for your team because of how important you are. Like, if you're the Jets and you bring in Justin Fields and he starts losing his confidence, well, now he can't inspire your team because he thinks he sucks. Your culture can fall apart. It's just like there's so many examples of the great guys make their teams great. The bad guys, like, it's pretty evident, and that's why they get paid the most.
So, I want to talk about a few things that I think about. I wrote an article about this a few years ago, talking about Warren Buffett and why he didn't believe in Bitcoin. I'm translating the same thing back to NFL positional value. And from econ classes, I learned that there are 3 things that determine value. 2 of these are going to apply more in the NFL. Number 1, scarcity. Scarcity meaning how much is there of this asset, and is the quantity enough to be sufficient for demand? Scarcity defined means something is scarce if it is insufficient for the demand, like I just said. Okay, so is there enough of it versus how much you need? Second thing is utility. Utility is defined as something that is useful, profitable, or beneficial. In NFL terms, are you good or do you contribute to winning? The third, which isn't as applicable in the NFL, is liquidity, meaning an asset that is easily convertible into cash. In that sense, liquidity in the NFL would mean how easily can this asset be turned into different assets, as in AKA draft picks or other assets.
Yeah.
So the reason scarcity and liquidity matter the most, not liquidity, utility. Utility, just think about that as, is this guy good? That's pretty simple.
Liquidity.
Scarcity is the more interesting one that helps think about what determines value with guys. I think scarcity applies the most with a position like tackle. Tackle, for whatever reason, it's incredibly hard to find guys that are 6'7", can put on 320 pounds of muscle, and have the build to be able to do that at that high of a level. For whatever reason, I think mainly because no kid grows up wanting to play tackle.
I agree.
And then the complete dichotomy, or like the absolute opposite of that, is like running back. Anybody who's the best athlete at their high school or at their college is going to play running back. They're going to play running back, receiver, or quarterback.
Yep, totally.
Right? And if you're a great outside athlete, you're going to play corner.
Yeah, I think with tackle, you need a coach to like take you by the balls when you're in high school, and like you need to gain weight, you need to work really hard because I see a future in you, and you need to like do things you're uncomfortable with now, and like unless you get put up on that trajectory, under the age of 18, you're not going to make it. So it's just more scarce.
Right, exactly. So I think understanding scarcity and utility is a great framework for understanding why tackles are worth more than running backs. I don't know if there's any actual logical reasoning behind why there's less tackles that come out that are as good as less running backs. Stuff we talked about, maybe. But keep that in mind as we're talking about why certain guys get drafted higher than others. So, some numbers here for you. The NFL cap this year was $279 million. It inflates roughly at about 10% a year, depending on stuff. The only year it's dropped in the past 30 years was 2020 during COVID. Most of these good quarterbacks we're talking about are going to get extensions at around $55 million. So in my mind, the things we're thinking about here is if I draft a quarterback and he flops and I have to replace him as a free agent, what is a replacement level guy going to be worth? A high-level guy like Sam Darnold is going to be worth $33 million a year. A low-level guy like, say, Mariota is going to be worth 10. Taylor Heineke is going to be 10. So assume that if you're thinking about drafting a quarterback and you're thinking, okay, let's say you draft a quarterback, right? You draft Fernando Mendoza in this upcoming draft, and you're thinking, great, I got a quarterback. He's, let's say, at the end of his 4th year, going into his 5th year extension, he's the 15th best quarterback in the NFL. At the current salary cap, he'd get probably about $50 million a year out of the 279. That's 18% of the cap.
Yep.
So instead of numbers, obviously the cap's going to inflate over time. I think the best way to think about how guys are impacting the cap is based off percentages. So assume that if you draft a good quarterback, he's going to end up accounting for 18% of your cap, which is by far more than any other position. It's not even close.
Yeah.
A few other calculations I did. So $279 million divided by 52, the number of guys in the roster, is about $5.5 million a year for an average guy. Obviously, that's going to be the mean, but the median is much lower. It's more like $2.5–3 million a year.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of great information on this, but I assume that the average starter, roughly in the NFL, a decent starter makes $8 million a year at any given position. So what I did is I took the salary of a good starting player, perhaps like the 10th to 12th best starting player, and I divided that by 8 to determine what an average starter would be at any position. For quarterback, that divider was 6.9. 55 divided by 8 is 6.9. Keep that in mind. I then did a little bit more math, and I took each position and God, I suck at this math. Oh, is the mic too close to my face? Sorry. I can explain this math later.
You put it right back in the same spot.
Shit, sorry.
I didn't even notice it before, but no one's I'm like, yep, there's a little throat action going on here.
Sorry. I should have prepped more on this.
You're good. I can jump in. I got some,
we
some
got
things
stuff too,
to
so.
spit.
Thank you.
So I like what you had there with percentage of the cap, because it changes every year. And I've heard from various podcasts that typically GMs don't make too much of assumptions, GMs and agents, when they're negotiating contracts. They're not making too much of an assumption for what is going to happen in the future. So they really look at contracts for percentage of the cap at signing. So if you want to compare a quarterback that signs an extension in 2023 to a quarterback that signs an extension in 2025, certainly there is a little bit of just like the average annual value. Like in 2025, Josh Allen signed for 55, I think for 6 years, and that put him in the same category as Jordan Love and Joe Burrow, although those guys signed their extensions in 2024 and 2023. So in that instance, Allen is trying to be, I just want to match 55, which is the going number, but realistically, he signed it a year later, so he's actually taking a discount for his team. But with agents, you've got to worry about what the exact number is. But just coming down to that, I looked at some of the top 10 quarterbacks and who signed extensions the last few years. Joe Burrow had the highest percentage of the cap with 24.5% because he signed his $55 million in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Purdy signed his extension in 2025, it's $53 million, which sounds really similar, but that goes down to 19%. So 24.5 down to 19. Purdy, you think, they're getting paid the same. Really, Purdy is taking, it's a step down from Joe Burrow, who has the record in the last 5 years for highest percentage of the cap.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. I kind of took a little different approach. I kind of appreciate you guys going in percentage of caps. I kind of just stuck to what you'd expect to pay and for what type of player.
And I think that makes sense too, because like the players are looking at that and the agents are still talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's still very relevant.
Yeah. And so Miles kind of touched on this, but if you have found your franchise guy, what you choose to believe as your franchise guy, you'd expect between $50 to $60 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that is subject to change with the cap. And if you are in a position where you have a serviceable quarterback, but you still don't think he is your guy, you're still going to end up paying $35 to $50 million for him.
Right.
Yep. Geno Smith, Baker, Sam Darnold,
Which is crazy.
Those contracts.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones was on that trajectory, and then he blew up his whole life.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And the crazy part is, for the quarterback position, even if you have like a journeyman, a guy that's flying from team to team, a guy that can still play starting quarterback role, but his ceiling is just too low for you, you're still looking around like that $15 to $20 million.
Yeah,
No question.
Fields was at like 20
Fields was
per year.
20.
Two for 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
All right. Just want to establish that I'm a fraud and I lost my train of thought and I suck at podcasting, but I can return back to the idea I was getting at before.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Perhaps the 10th or 12th best player at their position, maybe a top 10 player at their position, would get an average of each position about $26 million a year. So I took what that
Gotcha.
10th best player would make, assuming that you make a draft pick, we hit on a guy, we're going to pay him as the 10th best player in the year.
Mm-hmm.
I then took what that actual number would be in the quarterback case, 55, and divided it by, took that multiplier, essentially.
6.9 from before?
Yeah, the 6.9 from before, divided by the 3.21. Thank you, Matt. And I came out with a multiplier grade of quarterback at 2.16 compared to what the average good player would make at his position. So if you draft the average player at ambiguous position, he ends up making $26 million a year. Assume that, using this math, if whatever that average player at random position ends up making, assume that the quarterback's going to end up making 2.16 times what that guy will make.
Okay.
So, shitty with the math. Let's move on.
So you're making a framework for the average player, and you're going to compare each position to it.
Thank you. Matt is by far the best at math, and he's going to be able to explain this the best. Running back.
We're going. So you want to go? Are we going to go top down? I mean, running back's a good case study because people think about it the most. It's so important for fantasy, and really the NFL just doesn't value it very highly.
Do you want to go somewhere else first?
I was thinking about kind of going top down, money, but running back would be interesting. So
no, I like top down.
Yeah, I think that is.
All right, what do you got up next,
Very
Connor? After quarterback?
So in terms of just overall money being thrown out there, believe it or not, it isn't left tackle. It currently is wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And this is honestly one of the positions that it is kind of across the board. It depends on the type of player you are, really. And so you have the tier one, which is the bona fides, which are getting $30 to $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy how when you factor in without the quarterback, they aren't nearly as valuable as they'd be with the quarterback.
Yep.
And so those are your Jamar Chases, Amon-Ra's in that tier.
Mm-hmm.
There's a specific group of guys that get there. From there is a pretty clear cutoff into tier 2, which
Yeah.
are guys that can still be wide receiver ones. Essentially, almost every wide receiver one that
Calvin
isn't
Ridley.
in there. Calvin Ridley is in there.
Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
They're still getting $20 to $30 million a year.
Yep.
Then you have the kind of like the people who are on prove-it deals that teams are giving a shot but aren't really there. They're still getting $10 to $15
Darnell
million
Mooney.
a year. And then after that $10 million cutoff,
Tutu Atwell.
there's hardly anyone that's getting more than $5 million.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole, well, can you play both sides of the ball?
If you get below that cutoff, we want to get in a rookie, give him some snaps,
yeah,
get a look at him.
Exactly, yeah. And in reality, it's going to be cheaper. If you take a guy in the third round, give him a shot over a third-round talent guy that he's on his second contract, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And if you have a rookie, you always have a chance of him hitting a supernova, like a
Yeah.
UDFA that becomes a guy that's on your team for 8 years. So
Yeah.
Receivers specifically, it always surprises me how much the guys at the bottom still get paid. Like
Yeah.
De'Ami Brown had like less than 1,000 yards in 4 years with the Commanders,
Mhm.
and then the
Yeah.
Jaguars turned around and gave him $10 million.
Yeah,
for
he had one
year.
good year. Yeah, the Jags, they did not.
Talk about asset
They
spend.
didn't get what they wanted there.
Christian Kirk is on an insane contract.
Yeah, he was
right
like
now
he
for
was like
Houston.
$24 million a couple of years ago. So
Yeah,
that-
and that's another one the Jags paid, right? And then
that
and
was
then
They
Houston,
just traded for Jacoby Myers too.
that was their
well,
old dumb GM. I forget his
Houston
name.
traded a 7th-round pick just to acquire the contract.
Yeah,
Trent Baalke.
Crazy.
Trent Baalke. Yep, I'm at anti-Baalke podcast.
By the way, Trent Baalke met my girlfriend's mom in an airport and was hitting on her and bought her a drink.
Really?
Mm.
Well, hire
She told me that it was the most excited
The
I've been about
Trent
anything she's told me.
Trent Baalke, the official GM of the Football Frauds podcast.
Fuck yeah, he is.
He likes
Glad to
big
see that.
guys. That's what I know about him.
Yeah.
He cares about your frame.
Trayvon
Your-
Walker.
Your speed. Maybe your speed does matter. Your ability to play football does not, though.
Obviously
just
not.
your speed and your size.
Took Trayvon Walker over Hutchinson.
Yep. And a lot of other examples like that.
Yep.
Okay, so wide receiver, I had them third. I just tried to look at some of the top, and I had them right behind defensive end. Another one of the highest paid positions. I was looking at just like if you look at the top tier of contracts, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, around that range, and that's amounting to around 15% of the cap, depending on what year they signed it. So for my numbers, I have quarterback around 22 for the top tier and defensive end around 15. So really not quite as big of a gap as you might think. You may only know a couple of the best defensive end names in the NFL, but they really are paid very highly because of just their impact on the game. Anytime you get down and you're in a pass-only scenario and these defensive ends can tee off and get their moves going, bull rush, chop, whatever they need to get to, they're so impactful. And with you Packer fans, you see it, Micah Parsons. Anytime you guys have the lead, he's just monstrous to end the game. No one's talking about him, but doesn't he already have like 13 sacks?
Yeah, no, he's
Because he's so far behind Garrett. Garrett's a legend too.
DN's a great example of scarcity. Once again, and how rare it is to find guys that have that
No
specific.
one moves like Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. Like
Right.
You just, how do they get out of their breaks that quickly and just dominate?
And the bend. The bend is the main
Yeah.
thing to me, where these guys can run at full fucking speed around a 6'7"
And their
330
ankles
guy.
don't like rupture into
Yeah.
outer space.
They're running at a 90-degree
Yeah.
angle basically
Yeah.
around a dude. You know,
It's crazy. Yeah, around a 310-pound athletic freak.
dude
and
with
they're just
35-inch arms.
flying 'em. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Grogan. What's next on your list?
I had edge next on it, and then after that it goes into left tackle. Obviously, that is
Okay.
what's next. So
I had tackles grouped together personally.
I had left and right split.
I don't see
but
side.
They are very close. It's just that top end.
Yeah. I personally just think right tackles are people too,
Would you guys be
I don't.
left tackles or right tackles?
Right. Any chance I could have a higher chance just like of making it, I wouldn't risk the upside. I'd just be like, nope, I'm not an upside guy.
I honestly
Put
think
me at right.
we could put 50 pounds of muscle on you, Matt, and have you play right tackle for Platteville.
It took me a lot of effort to get from 190 to 220, so I think I'm probably staying right around here if I had to guess.
I don't know. Grogan, you think you could play tackle? What do you first of all, what position do you think you play if you're in the league with your body type?
Well, in 7th grade, I was a D end and a running back.
Let's go.
Yeah, put up like 4 tugs a game.
Scarcity-wise, you
300
probably
Whoa.
want to go with a running.
Well, running back.
You probably wanna
you're
go-
not going to get paid a lot.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's why I also played D end.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
right.
That's a good investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got quarterback, edge, wide receiver, and then tackle.
Yep. And so, obviously, if you are playing for a team with a left-handed quarterback, the right tackle then becomes the most valuable
Blindside tackle.
offensive lineman for that team. And so, the only reason I really split it up is just because the left tackles had the higher pay overall. But if you're looking at the non-top end guys, it's the same amount of money.
Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah. And so, and even at that, it's
Right.
it's like a $3-4 million difference. So
Bernard Ryman got $23 million from the Colts.
I know. Apparently, he's better than I did not know much about Ryman before this exercise. Apparently, he's the GOAT. So.
Dan Moore got $20 million a year to be the 26th best tackle.
It's
in the
crazy.
NFL.
That's crazy.
And just that's a point to just what free agency has become with the cap rising every single year.
Yep.
Like if you're the Titans and you've had no good drafted players for 5 years in a row, you have infinite cap space to give out. You're like, yeah, Dan Moore is probably below average, but
We need a tackle.
But if we draft someone, they'll be terrible.
Yeah.
We can pay $20 million, get someone below average, and at least he can play.
And that's a attribute to scarcity. Obviously, it's so hard to find guys in the draft that can be solid at tackle out the gate, and guys who aren't first-round tackles almost never start out of the gate. They're just so hard to find. These athletes are so incredibly hard to develop. Yeah.
I said we just run through the offensive line with
Yeah,
it.
let's do it. Oh, by the way, multipliers based off my weird math. Quarterback was 2.16. Edge was 1.5, meaning they make 1.5 times as much as the average good player would in extension. Wide receivers 1.25, meaning they make a time and a quarter what the average good player would make. So instead of paying him 25, you pay him 33, 32 around there.
Yep.
Tackle was 0.97, so about on par.
Okay.
What's next?
Let's go left and right guard. I didn't switch this up because it's pretty much exactly the same. Surprisingly, I would have thought that there'd be a bigger gap between at least right tackle and both guards, but there's not. I mean, there's like a $3 or $4 million difference, but when you're speaking on contracts that are like $25 million, it's not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the guards are asked to do a lot more, be more versatile than tackles are.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of just the importance,
You might have him pull.
of like it being your security, the left tackle and right tackle are more valuable.
Yeah, and I think historically the gap was a lot bigger, and then as the NFL moved forward, you just had a lot more versatile bodies on defense that they'd find your worst O lineman and they'd attack him.
Yeah.
And so over time, it's like if you're going to be a little bit better guard than you are tackle, in the past they might say, well, we need you at tackle because that's where we're most threatened. Now you're most threatened wherever you're weakest. So if you have a guy who's better at guard, keep him at guard, pay him at guard, because like you see Micah Parsons, Will Anderson, Jared Verse, they'll line up in the center. I don't think Myles Garrett's doing that too often, but they'll attack you where you're weakest, and that could be a guard. And so that's just changed over time.
Yeah.
Guards specifically over the last few years, the spending has gotten fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Robert Hunt got 20 to go to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Aaron Banks got 17 to go to the Packers last year.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy.
They're just handing out huge contracts because these guys are so hard to find in the draft.
Yeah.
And I think as a result, guards are going to start going higher in the draft than they have in the past.
Yeah.
Just the spending on them has been crazy, specifically the past 2-3 years as teams start to realize, like, hey, interior offensive line is so hard to find in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Even, like, tackle obviously is the hardest to find, but being able to find guys like this, we're going to pay a premium just to get guys who are decent.
And if you have a quarterback who wants to stay in the pocket, take a step up to deliver a ball, like on an in-breaker over the middle of the field, if you can keep that space, or if the quarterback steps up, they have forward momentum, they have trajectory, they can get some more power behind the ball, versus if the guards give in, cave in the whole pocket, they have to kind of like stand there flat-footed. They're way more likely to just like give up a duck, give up a weak interception, floats in the air.
For sure.
Yeah.
That brings us to what? D tackle?
Center.
Center.
What? Are you doing all offense? What's going on with your list here?
Oh no, I said let's just run through the offensive line.
Okay.
Cool.
I thought we were still going top down.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to talk about how left tackles are the most important thing on the offensive line, and then switch to cornerback, and then come back.
We got 3 different brains. Let's enter the brain of Connor Grogan and let's get towards center.
Ooh, I'd like
Oh,
to enter
yeah.
your brain, young man.
They suck.
Yeah,
Don't pay them.
I would have thought that center and the guards would be closer than guards and tackles.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah,
Drew Dalman's been really good for you guys this year, right?
Yeah.
The Bears.
He works well on Ben Johnson's scheme. I don't know on any given team if he's going to be a weapon, but
A weapon at center.
we signed him a lot in free agency, and it's worked out well. But I have percentages here. The record for highest contract was 2021. Frank Ragnow had 7.4% of the cap. Drew Dahlman's down at 5.
This is good. I
So
like
that's
this.
like 2/3 as much. So, but center just hasn't grown that much since Frank Ragnow because.
Ragnall's damn near Hall of Famer, though. That's the difference.
But even then, like Creed Humphrey, he's below that. He just got extended.
What was his percentage of the cap? Do you have it?
7.0 over 7.4. But there's just not too many. Like if you get crazy good athletes at center, I think this is a situation where they might not play center for long.
Yeah.
yeah. I just think it's weird for a position that like if they go down, it's very obvious that your entire offense is kind of shook up, and anyone
Yeah.
that comes in there's a lot more potential for chaos.
I think that's
Yeah.
true.
and how they just don't get paid.
I think the broadcasts probably over exaggerate that than how
That's
important
probably
it is.
true.
Because your backup center, like, yeah, he's not with you every day. It's not ass to face. But, like, he's working all day about how to run the offense. The entire year, his job is to learn how to
Yeah.
run the offense. I think sometimes the announcers, that's like a gimme for them. They've never worked together before. They don't know what they're doing. He's a professional who gets paid millions of dollars to be a center still.
So I'll say that. So as a Packer fan, when Jenkins went down,
Oh, yeah.
and we put in Ryan,
Mhm.
Sean Ryan, there was a look on his face when he came in.
Oh,
and
fuck.
the camera, he literally went, "Oh fuck."
yeah, dude. It's
But Sean Ryan, like, he's cross-trained at guard, right? Like,
Well,
he
he-
plays around.
Well, I think that's kind of where a lot of the interior offensive line.
So that's a good point. That's a good point.
Non-left tackles on a right-handed quarterback team.
yeah.
yeah.
They're all asked to be versatile in their training in all positions.
Yep.
But they do have a priority, a hierarchy
Mhm.
of which positions are more valuable to the team, and they will put their best player in that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good case study of center value. The Eagles this year. They keep Dickerson. They keep Lane Johnson. They keep Mailata. Johnson hasn't been that healthy. They lose Mekhi Becton to the Chargers. But
Dickerson's been hurt. Or, like, he's playing unhealthy, too.
Dickerson's playing hurt, but their run game has been fucking atrocious. Like, just from what I can remember, the craziest downgrade of an offensive line from being consistently elite for like 3 or 4 years straight and now just being very mediocre.
Yeah.
And, I mean, how can you not think that Kelsey's a big part of that?
The problem is Saquon ran for 2,000 last year with Jurgens.
Wait, was Jason Kelsey not playing last year?
No, he's
No.
been out 2 years.
Yep.
In fact, Jurgens got signed
Fraud.
for 6.1%
he was
of
at
the
Thursday Night Football, man.
Fraud.
6.1% of the cap, more than Dahlman's 5.
No.
So they thought Jurgens was a great player. They drafted him in the second round, I believe.
Excuse my casual.
It's okay. He's a fraud, and I think the main thing is Dickerson's been hurt. Like just playing in and out of the lineup, he doesn't have the strength. Like they always run behind him in the tush push, and they keep doing it. But it's just he's not like the strongest player in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
Or at least he's hurt enough to not play like that. Lane Johnson's 1 more year older. Mekhi Becton's gone, and then I think Lane Johnson's the right tackle. Oh, I think Mailata's just been a little bit hit or miss more too. So
Parsons fucking took him to town, baby.
yeah,
Woo!
he's a little stronger than he is over.
Sick.
I think.
All
In
right.
a loss.
Huh?
In a loss to the Eagles. Parsons took him to town in a loss.
Well,
Debatable.
Did we lose? Debatable.
I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to go to IDL. That's another highly paid position we haven't
Yep.
got to yet.
My multiplier on IDL is 0.94.
Okay, so that's a little bit less than tackle, right?
Yep, tackle is 0.97. Interior offensive line is 0.7. Just throw that around.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Chris Jones is the only guy who's gotten over 30, and he got that a
Yep.
few years
Yeah.
ago.
Mhm.
Yep. which is insane that it was even in the old cap situation.
But he earned it from all those playoff series where he was a game wrecker in the interior, and there's not too many of them.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, all the Super Bowls where he just took over on those playoff runs.
Anything else we want to talk about D-tackle? We can freaking move on.
They're the same as how guards have become more important. Like, it's not just your best edge rusher; it's your best four. Because you have so many smart people calling so many smart defenses, using the bodies however they best can. So, yes, it goes down. I have IDL at 10.5% of the cap, defensive end at 15 for some of the best players, but it's just closer than it used to be.
Yeah.
Milton Williams getting 25 from the Patriots this year is a great example of just okay.
Free agency slop where someone makes it through. You're like, well, I'm going to pay him all I got.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not a sexy position, I guess. Honestly, it was the least volatile when looking at contracts.
Yeah.
It was just very clear by how good you are, you got paid that exact amount.
Yeah.
So
that brings us to, what do we want next? Off-ball linebacker?
we go linebacker.
What about if we're going top to down? We got corner.
Ooh.
But yes, we have corner if we're on top down.
So I have corner and defensive tackle as the exact same multiplier, 0.94 for the record.
Yeah. I have them off by 0.5 million.
Yep.
Or
I just had interior ahead of corner solely based on the tier. It was pretty clear that the top end interior defensive linemen are getting paid more outside of some of the outliers at corner right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty. I guess I only looked at the top tier, so that's a good point. But I honestly don't quite get why corners are paid so much.
I'm confused by it. I think they're the position the most in the NFL right now where I don't understand their value because not a lot of great defenses don't have good corners, but it feels like a lot of good to great defenses can just get by with having very mid corner assets. I think about the Vikings. I think about the Packers. The Bears are obviously the complete opposite of that, but the rest of their defense is lacking besides linebacker.
I see this Sauce with the highest contract the last several years for 10.8% of the cap, and then another team wanted to pay most of that and trade 2 first-round picks for him.
We cannot index anything around the Colts being dumb.
But even then, the Jets paid him that much. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. It's just you only cover one guy, and oftentimes you're playing zone because that's how you got to play with the rest of your defense. And
right.
I got to take here. I just thought about how if I was an NFL GM and someone came in and was like, hey, if you had to guess who was going to come in here and tell me that they need more money to play right now, who would it be? And I think 100% of them would say, yeah, probably the cornerback that's talking a mad shit every game.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Who would you bet not to come in here? Yeah, probably the white center that we have.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to ever talk
you're
to
just
me.
completely racially stereotyping corners right now is what I'm hearing.
No.
Cooper DeJean wouldn't ask for a raise.
Cooper DeJean would never ask for a raise.
Never.
He's
Reed
very,
Blankenship?
very
No way.
respectable.
Riley Moss? I don't think so.
Riley Moss, down to earth, good kid. Good kid.
Hard worker, grinder, nose to the grindstone.
Yeah. First one in, last one out. I do get your point, and I think what it comes down to is the athleticism, the ability to adjust quickly. We don't watch enough film to really understand how much those guys are so freaking smart and how quick they are, and they just don't get dusted because they don't have. The better your movement skills are, the more you can trust yourself to adjust versus having to predict. If you're bad at moving and you start predicting, you just get dusted.
Yeah.
I think that another good way to think about it is if you could choose one player at one position to take a defense that's 25th in talent around you and then raise it as much as possible. In terms of thinking about value, I think you would start with edge, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, 100%.
Which
100%.
I can't completely understand the film reason for that, why that happens on the field in terms of why it's so valuable. In terms of what do you think, Matt?
These guys just completely juke the crap out of tackles. They bull rush them. Sometimes plays are over in 2 seconds because you have an elite edge.
Maybe the good way to think about it is they're like a force multiplier. What I think about is the Packers last year against the Lions and watching the film from that and them just getting cooked over and over again as Goff sits unbothered in the pocket and just rips throws over the middle, and how much of a like floor raiser and force multiplier as Parsons is, because he just lowers the average time you have in your head
Totally.
by 0.3 seconds.
Yeah,
for
and
everybody else.
even
on
if
the
he
field.
has a bad snap where he doesn't actually get much pressure,
They're gonna double him.
The quarterback is still thinking like that they have less time because Parsons could be affecting me.
Right, and so that timer in your head is
Yep.
0.3 seconds
Totally.
slower. Whereas, like, if you just have Sertan out there or Sauce out there on the edge, like on the corner, like maybe he takes away half the field in theory.
Yep. If he's playing a man rep or
Yeah.
So I mean, I was looking at a study that went back 40 years, looking at title odds and positional value on the team.
Okay.
That's sick.
And so to start, it was quarterback. It was almost unanimous. Every team at least had a serviceable quarterback, and the vast majority of them had elite quarterbacks.
Joe Flacco,
elite,
and then
Big Dick Nick.
Right below that, almost equivalent, was offensive line. That you can't get it done without an offensive line.
Yeah, that checks out.
But then, right after that, was edge. And if you think about it, if you have someone on the edge that can get to the quarterback and disrupt them and take away their best player.
Last year's Super Bowl, the Eagles, like, that was all they did.
Yeah.
It was just like elite pass rush the whole game.
Yeah, and so it makes sense in my head why they're getting paid what they do. And it's fun to watch. You know, it's
I love Micah Parsons so much.
It's pretty fun to watch someone just rip off the edge.
I don't know. There's something about it. It's guttural. It's like
I think people have made this comparison before. I'd have to agree that receiver and defensive end are a similar position. The way you need to get off the ball to beat press coverage as a receiver is pretty similar to the way you need to get off the ball and
that's actually a great
move
point.
around a
I
tackle.
never even thought about that.
Me neither.
It's like besides a quarterback, you are in charge the most of like what happens in the first second of the play, and if you are really good at that, it's just that's why you get paid because it affects everything if you can just juke a guy out of his shoes.
You've got like an arsenal of moves you go to right when the snap hits, like the same type of thing where you're just like trying to juke this guy out and get around him.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's actually fascinating. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And then right after that, they had corner and safety, so essentially defensive backfield.
Interesting.
And then there was a pretty big step between like the defensive backfield compared to the wide receivers and tight ends. It was lumped together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is it's weird.
Yeah, but that was back in the old days. This is new age football.
New age football.
We don't care about what happened
Buster.
back then.
Well, also in the old days, running back was second least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second least?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And in the
That's-
new days.
That honestly, when you're looking at the current age of like GMs, nerds looking at spreadsheets, figuring out who to pay what, they're looking at stats like that.
Yeah.
Because running backs used to get paid a lot. Like the Ricky Williams trade.
Oh, yeah.
As was the Saints traded for him. I'm not an expert, but like you trade a whole entire draft for one guy, and nowadays it'd be like we're gonna draft two guys in the 7th round, and that will be our running back room.
Yeah.
And it works out great.
It can.
Yeah, and the least valuable according to this title odds chart I was looking at was defensive line, interior defensive line.
Interesting.
And that's what made me think about the positional value. So the most important would be the guys that are getting it done, and the second below them is the guys that stop them from getting it done. So things like that, but I can touch on more about the running back and stuff when we get to their position.
I think we're at corner. I have next on my list, I have safety.
Safety was mine as well.
0.66 multiplier for me.
Ball Hawks, Field Rangers.
Keep spitting, King. What else you got? You got any other two-word
Keep it
fun?
rolling.
They set the tone in the middle of the field. That's their zone.
Heck
Yeah, they do.
If you're a quarterback and you can only throw to the sideline because you're scared of some great safeties, it makes a big difference still.
Dude, you know what's fun?
What?
Watching Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams every week.
Dude.
Oh,
Man.
it's sick.
You know what I've been liking watching? Bullard.
Really?
Having him fire.
Does he play nickel for
Isn't
you
he?
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But he's a safety. He was drafted as a safety.
I know. I hate how the teams do that. Like
Yeah.
he's listed as a safety on their depth chart,
Mhm.
and I mean it's not really a problem. It's just like if he's lined up over your third receiver and a 3 wide receiver set, it's just frustrating that there's not a way we could just have a name for that player because sometimes they're a corner, sometimes they're a safety.
Yeah. him in run defense is sick, even though he's really
He's a
undersized.
missile. Just
He just comes in and
Dude.
goes for dude. Yeah, it's sick.
Oh man, yeah.
Our nickel's been injured all year.
Kyle Hamilton just had the market-setting contract. I think he got like $24 million, $25 million.
25.1.
25.1. What percentage of the cap is that?
That's
Matt, do you have
9%, which is just below Derwin James in 2022.
Beautiful. I mean, I think Hamilton's. It's crazy that Hamilton can get that, and then Cortland Sutton got $23 million in free agency.
Yeah.
And equating those two things in my head, I still feel like the best guys of their position in a lot of these situations aren't being paid fairly, but they're kind of being taken away from because of the position track record.
I think you're right. I think, maybe not Parsons. Parsons' contract is pretty. Maybe
huge.
But, obviously a quarterback. Like, Mahomes and Allen should not be making the same amount as Goff and Trevor Lawrence and Purdy.
Right.
We know that. But they just agreed, if you're a really good quarterback, you're like, well, I don't need that much money. I kind of want to win.
And all the agent has to do, they have the ultimate amount of leverage, obviously, because you don't want your quarterback to walk. He's the most valuable guy to your team. And your agent says, look at his stats. Look at Tua's stats the past 2 years. He's been the third quarterback in EPA, and he's second in passing yards. How can you not give him $50 million a year?
When I go back to Kyle Hamilton and Cortland Sutton, it's like you can design your play around Cortland Sutton. Like, you can understand how it's going to affect the defense to open up a new space, and, you can plan this going into the game. Whereas, defense, you're just all reactionary.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton's a legendary player. He can rush. He can play one-on-one coverage. He can have such instinctual feel for his zone. He can, put a guy on his ass. But you can also just, design a play where you know where he's going to be and, get him out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Hamilton's such a freaking Swiss Army knife.
No, he's my favorite to watch.
Me too. I just don't understand how he can make that while Milton Williams makes 25. He's such a game changer in so many ways, and he can factor into your game plan the same way Sutton would in terms of using him in so many different packages in so many different ways, and having him at the line of scrimmage. And
it's true, but you can still where is the nickel guy going to be, and how can I work around it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No D coordinators going to bed at night going, God, I hope we don't get torched by Cortland Sutton tomorrow. That's gonna suck.
Yeah, they are.
You think so?
Yeah, Cortland's that's what your whole thing. He's their best receiver. So your whole game plan, and he has some unique set of skills.
I just feel like every OC going against Kyle Hamilton is actually a little scared thinking about him the entire week.
I think because there's more unpredictability because you don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
But actual just impact, if the Broncos don't have an average receiver, Connor's tier 2 receiver you was talking about, we put Calvin Ridley in there even though he hasn't played all year. It's you need those guys. You pay him a lot because if you have no one, you get one of those guys because if you go below that, you can't pass the ball.
Right.
Your guys will never get open or win a contested catch.
In terms of Hamilton not making as much as he should because the rest of the guys his position aren't paid enough, despite him being an exception, another guy that reminds me of is Kittle. We haven't gotten into tight ends yet.
Into tight ends. Yep. I have that up next.
Kittle every year grades as the best blocking tight end and the best receiving tight end. He's top 5.
High
he has
up
been
there.
the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Only makes $19 million a year. $4 million a year less than Cortland Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
And you're basing a lot more of your game plan around George Kittle than you are Sutton. I just really think that Kittle gets screwed because the agent goes in and John Lynch, the GM of the 49ers, is like, okay, well, nobody else at a tight end makes more than $17 million. How can we give you 25? What are you talking about? Trey McBride got 19. He's by far the best weapon on the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because on almost every team there's a clear drop-off between, if you have a stud tight end, you can't just mix and match him. But if you do have a blocking tight end or just need to fill someone, essentially have someone just run a route and take up space, you can find them.
Yeah.
And so comparing him with someone like George Kittle or the Tucker Crafts, the Trey McBrides, to someone like that, insulting.
Right.
Insulting.
But they still get paid that way.
Yeah.
Which is, I understand it though, because how can you negotiate as an agent and just say it's hard to be this guy should be paid 30% more than anybody else in this position.
Based on the multiplier.
Yeah, you got it.
The multiplier that Miles
Well,
Stops
actually,
put
if you look
together.
at the multiplier, I have a .67 on the tight end position.
0.67. 6.7 for
Fun little thing about tight ends, Kittle and McBride, they just signed their extensions for 19 per year. Hawkinson's extension in 2023, actually higher in percentage of the cap than.
Interesting.
So and the Vikings traded for Hawkinson, so they had a huge boner for some T.J. Hawkinson. Doesn't feel like it's really been worthwhile for what they've got from it.
Yeah, none of their receivers feel worthwhile right now.
Yeah.
Feels like none of them matter.
And I get, you know what? To Hawkinson's credit, he did what he did tear ACL.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure
Yeah, he got injured.
So that's tough. And this year's not been their year. So, but even then, it's like, Kittle should be paid more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Grogan, who you got next for
I think
positions?
the last up we got running backs.
Yeah.
Right?
Running backs and linebackers, they still have.
Oh, I thought we already went through.
We talked to linebackers, and I took over because.
Because that's what you do. You take
we
over.
haven't talked about linebackers.
Take
I know
over,
that.
Matt.
Because you're the type of guy who everyone bases their game plan around.
But,
People
yeah.
are thinking about you and they're the
Yeah,
night before
when
the
you
week.
when you walk over the Football Frauds podcast, there's only one guy you need to know where he is on every single pod.
All week I'm scheming, thinking of how I can keep Matt out of our game plan. He's going to take over.
Really versatile. Never know what's going to happen. So Roquan Smith, 2023, $20 million per year, 8.9% of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's the highest the last 3 years. And then the Bears paid Tremaine Edmonds a pretty similar amount, which is funny because he's like half the player.
Do you have
Yeah.
what Fred Warner got?
Fred Warner got extended again this year. I don't know what his last extension was. It could be it was more because that was like his first extension after a rookie contract.
Yeah.
This one's only at 7.5 versus Roquan's 8.9.
What is the actual? Do you have the actual number for
21 versus 20,
And what was Edmonds?
18. But Smith, the 20 and 18 for Roquan and Edmonds, that was 2023. The 21 for Fred Warner, that was this past year.
Right.
And there's been a good amount of cap growth in that time.
Right. Off-ball linebacker. Recent guy got a lot of money in free agency. Drake Greenlaw
That
got
is
a
true.
freaking bag
Okay.
from the Broncos, I believe, but not a position you see guys paying a lot to get. My multiplier for off-ball linebacker is 0.7. Safety is 0.66 by comparison. Running back, if we're comparing that as well, 0.63. Grogan,
So-
thoughts?
I noticed that if you have a guy that can be a game changer, you're paying him over 10 mil.
Mhm.
And I think moving forward it's probably more realistic that 20 mil.
Mhm.
But the thing is, after you get to your you got your Mike, you got your guy
Falls off quick.
there, you can get a pretty serviceable running inside linebacker for like $1 million. It's like, I don't know where the cutoff is, but it drops off pretty dang hard.
Totally.
The Vikings picked up Blake Cashman for a low amount this past year. I was watching a film breakdown from Brett Coleman. Apparently, Blake Cashman's been a key figure in the Vikings defense this past year.
Is he a rookie?
Cashman's a vet.
Oh, okay.
Cashman's a vet. But
Okay. Oh, I'm thinking of like Ivan Pace from last year or something.
yeah, yep. A guy who's probably going to get paid this upcoming offseason, Leo Chanel
Yeah.
Okay.
from the Chiefs.
Yep.
Going to be a free agent. Very good player, but I don't know if he'll get more than $15, $16 million a year from
Yeah, I
both sides of the
don't know
ball.
if we'll hit that. But yeah, we're getting down, really down the list here. The linebacker's pretty close to tight end, a little bit for at least the top guys. I think it falls
Yeah.
off more.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a position where they're not involved in a good amount of the plays. Like
Yeah.
on a typical downfield passing route, they might not be involved. And like a lot of guys can fill a run gap. Obviously, there's different levels to that, but it's just you're not quite close to the ball enough, either as a corner next to a receiver or a D line, like right setting the tone right there. You're just not close to the ball quite enough.
Yeah. Okay. Do we feel like we covered positional value?
Outside of running back.
Then
Outside
running
of
back.
okay, Connor, hit me with your running back thoughts.
Well, it's very clear that, I mean, it's probably the most media-ized, I guess.
For sure.
Fantasy-ized as
Yeah.
well.
For sure.
Where people are just so enraged that these running backs aren't getting paid.
And honestly, it makes me mad.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I was also mad.
No, like that they're not getting paid.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know why,
I'm
but
woke, so I'm on
honestly,
the other side.
after I was gonna say, after looking at this, then doing this exercise, I see it.
Well, I just get mad. So I'm a Bears fan,
Yeah.
and they start talking about Kyle Monangai.
Yeah.
They're like, that you'll see that on national news. Like, do the Bears find the gem of the draft in the 7th round? Kyle Monangai is so good at running, and I just people don't understand how much your running scheme and your offensive linemen are like over 80% of what you can accomplish. And if once you get an NFL level running back athlete, yes, it still matters. Saquon Barkley is a freaking legend, but you can get a lot of guys that can hit a hole or have enough vision to make it work. And the thing is, they're just more likely to get injured. They play better on rookie contracts because they take the most hits. So if you don't want to pay a running back, you just draft a couple guys in the 5th and 6th round. Hopefully one of them plays decent for you. You pay him about nothing. You have his legs destroyed for 4 years in a rookie contract, and then you do it again. Because once they get to 26, 27, 28, they could be getting injured, and that's why you don't get paid too often, because you never know.
Yep.
Well, it's pretty clear that you can't just have one running back on your team.
No.
You have to have multiple, and it goes into injuries. And
almost every team.
That was something that I looked into. So there was epidemiology study from 2012 to 2014.
Epidemiology.
All case injuries per 100 game exposure.
Ooh,
and
this
so
is
essentially, it was talking about the
Hit me.
percent of games resulting in injury.
Dang.
And so, at the top, you had wide receiver, and that was at 30.3%. And so that means that out of every game that you play as a wide receiver, there was a 30% chance that you were going to get injured. And then down the list, it went tight end.
Is that just like you get put on the injury report, or you're missing time?
So all case injury. And so that would be
probably like a documented injury
documented
report.
injury. Yep. And so it went from wide receiver at 30, tight end at 27, DB at 23, running back at 22,
Interesting.
linebacker at 21, defensive line including edge 15, offensive line 13.
So you're saying that we're capping about running backs?
Yeah. Quarterback 12.
Yeah.
But then I went into time missed per injury.
Oh.
Oof.
And
Dang.
the running backs actually led this list.
Oh, we're smart. We're
So,
smart. You're dumb.
Per any injury that a running back gets,
Yeah, sure.
the average is 4 games that they
Interesting.
miss.
So I feel like a running back maybe he's more likely to just not document an injury unless it's really bad. I don't know.
So
Maybe they're so relying on really high explosiveness and being super explosive.
yeah, I
Really,
think it also goes
the
into
explosiveness is something that they value to be good.
Yeah.
They want to be explosive.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
explosions in there needing to do them to play football.
They need to be
Yeah.
bigger and better.
And
I heard
explosive.
that.
Yeah.
I heard that. But the other thing is that it also factored in severity of injury. And
Sure.
so you'll have running backs that are obviously getting banged up a little more consistently, but it doesn't exclude the outliers of season-ending injuries as well. And so that's something that needs to be taken account for. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think
across the board, it's the same.
it makes sense that that's an injury that you lose a lot of freaking time for.
Yeah.
So running backs at 4, and then it goes offensive line at 3.2, and then wide receiver also at 3.2.
This is games lost per injury.
Yep. And so
Okay.
when you factor in that wide receivers are getting injured 30% of the time, and then they're missing 3.2 games per injury.
Do you have a games lost per season stat? Is that what you're getting towards?
It's just per injury. So every time that
Okay.
there's an injury documented.
Yep.
Then you got quarterback at 3.1, linebacker at 3, D-line at 3, safety at 3 as well, cornerback at 2.9. Don't know why that's a little bit lower. And then tight end's actually the lowest at 2.6.
Quick little quiz here for you. Ashton Genty is the 13th highest paid running back in the NFL at $8.9 million a year.
Okay.
Helps you give a good context. Anybody who's drafted at tackle, quarterback, receiver would not even be top 30.
Yeah. Yep.
I was thinking about that in terms of
That wasn't a
draft
quiz.
stock too.
Yeah,
that was just a
I was going to
statement.
frame it as a quiz.
Did I get it right? Do I win?
No, you lost.
Okay.
Damn.
Well, all right. Next time. Welcome back to quiz time with Miles. Here's a fact.
I was gonna quiz, and then
Here's a fact and what happened in the past.
I honestly was about to ask a question.
Come
and
back next time for quiz time.
In my head, I was like, "No, that's not what a quiz is. They don't ask a question." That's literally what went through my head.
I think that could be a quiz.
But something that I was thinking about was looking at these salaries and what you guys were talking about with percent of the cap space taken up. About there is a line where you can't draft a running back. Like you can't draft a running back until this because they'd be one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL.
For sure.
Another a point to slightly offset that is you can see like a tackle you might expect to take a couple years before he hits his stride. You can have rookie running backs play at a top 5 level.
True.
As a rookie.
Great point.
So there is you might want to pay them more because you might get some of their best years, but that's only a slight factor. I think mostly what you're saying is true. Like if you hit on a tackle, you're going to have a big advantage in how much money you're paying them. If you hit on a running back, maybe not that much.
But you can't
Right.
draft a center.
Yeah,
You can't draft a center.
Nope.
Can't draft a center number 1 overall. Just doesn't matter how good you
Just
are.
sign Drew Dahlman.
Yeah.
Okay, we think we got positional value.
Yes.
Well,
I wanted
are
to
you-
kind of touch in on talk about coach salaries. I have that written down.
Slot corner.
Slot.
Kyler Gordon is the high 4.8% of the cap, $13.3 million per year.
All right, Cook, Matt, what else you got in the bag?
I didn't get numbers for the rest of them, but kickers, the best kickers are paid more than the best fullbacks. The best fullbacks are paid more than the best punters, and long snappers are like pretty much only ever paid the minimum.
Well, don't worry, Matt. I got you. Tier 1 kickers are getting paid $5 to $6 million a year.
Okay, well now that's too much time on kickers.
Okay.
I hit the
Tier
quota.
2,
You're past
2 to
it.
4, and if you're a floating kicker, you're a floater on the league. You're making under $2 million.
Pop quiz on kickers. I don't care about your kicker stats.
Weird.
That was the pop
weird,
quiz.
weird tangent here.
That was a
Punters.
pop quiz.
Tier 1 punters, they're getting $3 to $4 million.
Okay.
I didn't see that one coming. I feel like punters are all
Fucking
across the
right out of
board.
left field, brother.
Yeah, 3 to 4. It's only
You're
like
saying
$1
that's
million.
too much?
Yeah, it's only the best punters in the league are getting paid like $1.5 million less than the best kickers.
It's too much.
You're saying kickers are more important than punters by
Definitely.
more than that.
Punters don't win championships.
I play fantasy and I think about fantasy more than regular football. Just kidding. I don't honestly have any. I have no
Look,
idea.
Matthew,
We should
I
look at
think about a lot
EPA
of
generated.
things.
The best kickers, how much EPA do they generate? And the best punters, how much EPA they generate?
Yeah.
And we make them
You got
do
those
stuff
stats
together.
for us, Matt?
I have no
Pop
idea.
quiz. What the hell is the answer to that thing? you just
Someone
brought up?
smart should do that. In fact, I bet Reddit has done it. If you guys want to take this podcast for a spin.
Yeah, Miles. Do you want to touch on head coach salaries here?
Hit it, son.
All right. So if you are a bona fide head coach, Himmy John head coach, you're looking at $12 to $20 million a year. If you are comfortable with your job, you're not on the hot seat, about $7 to $11 million a year. And if you are a guy that they're just throwing you in there to see what happens, it's 3 to 6. The average is around $7.5 million a year. And then factor that in to how you have to go tell Jamar Chase, who makes
$41 million.
six times more than your salary. You have to yell at him.
Yeah. And you got to go cut guys, too.
Yeah, insane. But the other weird part is that if you're one of the top
Because
tier,
coaches don't have a collective bargaining agreement.
yeah, but so if you're a
True.
top tier offensive coordinator, you're also making $3 to $6 million a year.
Yeah. Quick tangent off that. We should do a segment sometime on how much coaches would actually get paid if there was an open market CBA.
Yeah. If you had
'Cause-
a salary that if they got put in the same pool.
I'm for a fact, if Kyle Shanahan hit the open market as a coach, he would get at least $40 million a year.
Agreed. It'd be interesting if they were in the same pool. Like, if you want to spend more on a coach, you could have less money to spend on your roster.
Yeah.
Mm,
Interesting.
yeah.
That was the segment. I think 40 sounds. I don't think you'd go to the quarterback level, even if you should, because there's like some weird. I mean, maybe you would. Maybe
If there was no cap on it.
because coaches can't leave teams. Because if you leave team, you look like a baby.
Tell that to Lane Kiffin.
Like if you're a receiver, you can leave team because like about me, man, about dominating, about making my bread, about being dope. But if you're a head coach, it's like, I'm about the team.
I'm about making bread. I'm about
I'm
being
about
dope.
building a program. So, like, you can't just go to the best suitor at any point. Like, if Sean McVay, if there was an open market for it right now, he wouldn't go to it. He'd be like, I'm going to take a smaller contract on the Rams
Yeah.
because this is my place.
Right.
Yeah.
I just know that if there was a world where coaches got paid what they were worth, that
It'd
McVay
be a
would be getting a
lot.
freaking $60 million
Dude,
bag.
I feel like, would you rather have McVay or Mahomes?
Neither.
Think about how hard it would be to have an elite coach and an elite quarterback if it was a true
Yeah.
free market. You just skip on coach.
Just have Mahomes up there.
Mahomes is our coach.
He's running hot routes, bro.
Bro, I feel like I'd rather have McVay in the 16th best quarterback than Mahomes in the 16th best head coach.
Fascinating.
This
We
is-
should. That's a future episode
Yeah.
segment
Yeah.
at least.
At least a segment.
Let's dig into that.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating.
Okay.
But that's everything I had in my notes for today. So
You got loose
Yeah.
leaf. You got some loose leaf going.
Okay.
I have some more stuff on positional value.
hit
that
me
I
with it.
just- This is just random. I'm like, what else can I look at? I looked up trades involving first-round picks since 2000. I just like, I'm like, how often do people like decide that they need to use assets? Quarterback, there are 7 of them. Jay Cutler, Carson Palmer, Sam Bradford, Matthew Stafford. Actually, and then 4 of them are in the last 5 years. Stafford, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers was a conditional first. That's all in the past 4 years or the last 5 years. So I think people are becoming more thoughtful of these like aging veterans trying to trade for him or Deshaun's. So there's 7 of those. A lot of them, like some of them were at multiple firsts, like Stafford. I think Cutler was maybe. And then receivers, there's 8 or 9 here. D line, so this is interior and on the edge, only 6. So my thought on this is like, I feel like with a receiver, it like you can solidify who your quarterback is. If you bring in a receiver, you're more likely to feel like our offense needs to get more traction.
Diggs, AJ Brown.
Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Which are all
That's
kind
the
of
last 5 years.
which are all kind of situations where a team is looking to solidify their quarterback
Yep.
and make like the offense more palatable.
Yeah, and it just like even if maybe it's not the most sound decision, if you have trust in your offense of like, we know what it is, it's something good enough, then you can just like keep building your team and keep having confidence in who you are.
yeah.
Most recent defensive line trades for first round picks are Quinnen Williams, Micah Parsons, and Khalil Mack. So those are interesting. DBs, I put corners and safeties together. 5 since 2000. Sauce Gardner, Jamal Adams, which I don't. Every time I see his name in that trade, I'm like, I don't. That's a gray spot in my football knowledge. Sorry, Seahawks, Jamal
Bizarre.
Adams, Minka Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey, and Darrell Revis. O-line only 2, Laramie Tunsil and Orlando Brown. And running back 1, Ricky Williams,
That's great.
2002.
Yeah.
That's great.
Another thing, boom, first round picks by position. Quarterback,
Oh, here, I want to know this.
quarterback 33
When is this since?
since 2016. 10
Okay.
drafts, last 10 drafts. So only then I broke it down by how many are on the field at a time typically.
Yeah.
So 33 quarterbacks were selected, 1 plays at a time. So that's picks per starter. I have it 33.
Heck yeah.
Defensive end, this is first round picks. I have 46. So that's down to 23. So 33 quarterbacks, picks per starter, 23 edges, picks per starter. Offensive tackle, 17 per starter. Wide receiver, 16.4. Cornerback, 14.1. Running back, 14. So here's where my point comes in that I think young running backs are a little bit worth more because they can just play at a high level right away. Running backs weren't paid very much, but in this first round pick draft selection, it's actually higher.
Right. Maybe they're not actually, but at least NFL GMs have chosen to value them that way in the past decade.
That's true. You just maybe they like get a little excited in their pants to like draft Ashton Jitney
I mean,
or Bijan or
how can you not get a little bit?
it'd be hard not to.
I mean, like drafting Ashton Genty over Armand Membu
It
is
feels
objectively more exciting in your pants.
Yeah, you're like the fantasy owners. I'm gonna draft. The GMs are gonna draft Jitney in their dynasty league.
Yeah.
and be like, this is gonna be sick.
It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be awesome.
So running backs were at 14. Defensive tackle were at 12 per starter. Safety 7.5. So that's a big big drop off from everything above D tackle down to safety, 12 down to 7.5. Tight ends 6.7. Interior linebackers 4.8, and this is guards and center combined 4.
Can you explain what that statistic is again?
That is picks per starter. So I have 33. There's one quarterback playing,
Yeah.
and there's been 33 drafted in the first round. And for interior O-line, there's 3 of them.
Picks
that
per
start.
start. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all starting to make sense.
There's been 12 total drafted, but 3 of them have to play as starters.
Gotcha.
So it's 4 picks per starter.
Gotcha.
And that mostly follows pay. Running back's a little higher. Guard is a little lower. Guard and center is lower. But otherwise, you're seeing a pretty similar drop-off for how the people are paid versus how they're drafted.
Fraud Watch. Fraud Watch.
All right. So this week's Fraud Watch, we have all picked one player that we think that their contract is fraudulent, not in a legal sense, but that they are not worth the money that they are being paid.
They're not being paid. They are embezzling money.
Not in the Brandon Ayuk sense.
Yep. I don't know. Miles, you want to start this one?
I have my guy up. If you don't have your guy up yet.
Mine's probably super easy. It's kind of obvious after Deshaun.
Okay.
Tua.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Tua's just obvious.
Yeah.
Making, what is he, $50 million a year?
I don't know.
55, I think.
Like, what are your reasonings for it?
I think that
53.1 per year.
it's a pretty simple calculus to me. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's a top 20 talent in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's being paid as if he's Mahomes
Do
or
you-
Josh Allen.
Do you think that at the time that he got that contract,
No.
was it warranted at all?
McDaniel gave him an incubated, perfect offense for his skill set
Mm-hmm.
that worked well until people could learn to adjust to it.
Yeah.
Excellent question. The obviously in a vacuum, no. And
Yeah.
if I was the GM, I like to tell myself I wouldn't have paid Tua.
Yeah.
Just like I like to tell myself I wouldn't pay guys like Daniel Jones
They should have
if they had a
franchise
great
tagged him.
year.
Yeah.
Right, in hindsight. At the same time, though, you're sitting there, you know that the offense works really well.
You have a top half of the league offense
Right.
when he's playing.
Everything's working really
Mhm.
well. There's no suggestions. Like, you can't firmly just look at his film and be like, this guy's not good.
Yeah.
Everything, like, based off the stats, which is what anyone bidding for a contract is going to use,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
he's been an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Anyone who watches him pretty much could tell this guy's not awesome. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's
He
not
can't
Burrow.
do anything out of rhythm. He's either hitting his first, second target, or he's getting sacked.
Shitty
Yeah.
arm, shitty feet,
Yeah.
injury
Yeah.
prone.
Yep. Great anticipation. Well, that's the thing. You look at him, you think he's elite anticipation. His big word for people who oppose him would say that he doesn't anticipate. He just assumes that a guy's going to be there. That's
Yeah.
how good McDaniel's offense is that
Yeah.
he's gotten away with just assuming that a spot's going to be there, and it worked for a while. But as things went on, sometimes he'd make those assumptions, and it'd be a pick because people would read him.
Right.
And he just hasn't been able to adjust in some of his best seasons.
I think the point is it's so hard as a GM when a guy's playing well in your system
Yeah.
to just be like, you know what, you're really good for us right now. We're just going to walk away and try somebody else because the moment you like start a rookie or you start some free agent and he's not good, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Like you can't be the guy who lets Daniel Jones or Tua. I mean, at least in your head, right?
It'd be great if they could have paid him like $35 million a year instead of $53.
Yeah.
Or if they could have franchise tagged him and been like, we want to see one more year.
Yeah.
One more year where you're playing at this level.
I don't know. There's so much beyond just the obvious value of paying a player, all the
Yeah.
politics and the
Mhm.
relationship
Yeah,
with the
the
agent.
the confidence of him being the leader of your team when he's actually on an extension versus a franchise tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tua, you're an absolute fraud. You're not even on Fraud Watch. You're a confirmed fraud.
Yeah. I can go into mine. Player I put on Fraud Watch right now is Calvin Ridley. Matt brought it up multiple times. He had
Oh,
some
yeah.
reasons why he might not be on Fraud Watch and why you had to pay him, but I simply just don't agree with it. So over 4 years, roughly $92 million with $50 million guaranteed for a player
Yeah.
that was turning 30
Yep.
and only came off a 1,000-yard,
Yep.
8 TD season. And they thought that he was
Bro,
going to be their guy.
We had to develop Will Levis.
Did the same thing
Oh,
with Dan Moore.
man.
I agree that it didn't work, and that he's not all that he's cracked out to be. Like you'd much rather pay him 18 versus 26.
Yeah.
It's just the difference between a quarterback and a receiver. Like, if you have Will Levis and you want to see who he is, it's like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. A lot of
They
these
had
shitty.
no receivers
A lot of these
when they
shitty.
took him.
Yeah. A lot of these shitty franchises have to pay a premium for players too. That's a big thing in Jacksonville, Tennessee. Like De'Ami Brown, if he's going to the Chiefs, is not going to take $10 million. Dan Moore, if he's going to the Chiefs, is not going to be paid $10 million. These guys take a premium to go to shitty situations where
Yeah.
they know they're not going to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Jags and the Titans were like the Jags have won 7 to 9 wins at different points in the last couple of years, where the Titans were like they had bottomed out when they had signed.
True.
Calvin Ridley.
Well, I was looking at some things about how the Titans at the time were looking to bring in a veteran presence,
Yeah.
and
A veteran gambling presence.
but the only thing that he brought was just his age. Like,
Yeah.
he's able to teach these guys what it's like to play for a
I
shitty
know,
team.
and he had stepped away for mental health reasons, and maybe he's a great leader. I don't know. I don't know crap about
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, but like he doesn't seem like the number one example of
Yeah.
how to operate in the league.
But normally, like when you bring in guys, you bring them from championship teams who have been in a championship culture to try and change your culture. You don't bring guys that are old that
Yeah,
had a
I d-
1,000-yard season.
I think they had like $100 million in cap space,
Oh.
so it's hard because I didn't mind that when they did it at the time.
Yeah.
That was recently enough to where I could form my own opinion a little bit, and I just like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but like, who else are you going to give that money to? Because you
Yeah.
also have to be cap compliant.
Yeah.
You have to spend a minimum.
I'm sure they wanted to pay Dan Moore 16 and Calvin Ridley 19,
Totally.
but they couldn't just walk out of the free agency
Yeah.
being like, we didn't get either guy, we got a crappier version, and now I have to talk to the owner and convince him that I need to keep my job.
Yep, and I've been there as a Bears fan where we have cap space the last 3 years, and then the fan base will get so mad. It's like, we got terrible value out of this. Look at this other guy who has great value on their contract. And it's like, yeah, because it was a free agent acquisition.
Yeah.
The cap has gone up for 5 straight years, which means that every player can retain, or every team can retain all their good players.
Mhm.
So only the crappy players get to free agency.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Matt, who you got?
Speaking of the Tennessee Titans, and I actually think I talked about this in our last episode. This is a guy I just think it's funny. And speaking of championship players, I have L'Jarius Sneed. So this fits
Titans.
This fits the criteria of came off a championship, played really well in the playoffs. You know, people off that 2023 championship for the Chiefs, they were talking about Steve Spagnuolo, this defense. He just moves around so well. He's a genius.
Dude, Sneed was so good for the Chiefs. in that
L'Jarius
run.
Sneed, Trent McDuffie, ballin'. I think Justin Reed was still there.
Justin
at the
Reed
time.
was sick, yeah.
And the Chiefs have lots of good players, so they couldn't pay them all. So they franchise tag L'Jarius Sneed, and were looking to trade him. And at the time, you're seeing talking heads on ESPN saying, L'Jarius Sneed, he's got to be a first-rounder. Because they just saw him play well in the playoffs, and then time passed. They're like, well, maybe a second round. I think he eventually went for the Titans' third-round draft pick,
Yeah.
which was higher in the round. So getting close to second round in value there. But since then, he's been injured and terrible. I think they have him on $19.1 million per year with $44 guaranteed on that contract. And I did pull up his PFF numbers from before. But then I went off them. I'm pretty sure there was 105 eligible cornerbacks in the PFF database, and he was ranked 102nd.
Whoa.
So like completely fallen off a cliff.
Really?
I don't know his entire scenario, and he's been injured on and off, which that just never helps any player. But they used a pick, they used a lot of money, and he's been like 103rd out of 109. He's just been completely irrelevant. Can't play at all.
He walks into the locker room. He goes, "Look, guys, I know what it takes to win a championship.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, you need to become the best quarterback of all time, and you need to start dating Taylor Swift.
No,
And we will have this on lock."
But what he did do well is he's like, you know what, you need an all-pro defensive tackle, and what is it, Justin Simmons? Is that his name? Jeffrey Simmons.
Yep.
Looked at Chigo Okonkwo and said, you have to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. It worked well with the
And
Chris
start a
Jones Jeffrey
podcast with
Simmons.
your brother.
True.
Uh,
Calvin Ridley, 53rd out of 134 receivers, although on a lot fewer snaps.
Sick. All right.
Alec Iomanor, 116th out of 134 receivers. What is that?
That's not real.
it's not. That
That's
is fraud.
Totally
You
falsified.
need to send me the link to that, and I will
Cam Ward.
forward it to the FBI.
Cam Ward, 38th out of 40 quarterbacks. Yikes.
Hey, they're tanking.
That's pretty average for
It's a situation.
first round rookie.
Tajay Spears way higher than Tony Pollard. This is fun. I can just go at this all day.
Yeah.
I like names
Yeah.
and words.
Yeah.
Okay. We're calling it there.
Well, let's call it, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the second episode of the Football Frauds podcast. I looked at the camera
and
like,
Miles is going to deep throat his mic for the to the end of time.
thank you for. Anyways, this episode was pretty good. Could be more exciting. We're going to get better as we go on. To all of our viewers out there, thank you so much. I've made eye contact with the camera like 3 times. I'm sorry if you didn't get to see our beautiful faces. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.